teacher in Boney M studies. All right, settle down about. Now, you might ask me, why would Boney M be a suitable subject for academic study? Well, we'll be finding out over the next 2.5 hours. I mean 6 minutes, I'm so sorry. So, what can Boney M teach us that we don't know already? Well, we could look at the, unlike several stars from the 70s, ABBA, Legs & Co. and the Wombles, Boney M proved that they'd been paying attention at school and listening to the historical lessons that they had been taught. For example, we can look at the character Rasputin, somebody who we might not be very familiar with today, if it wasn't for Boney M, who pointed out to us that not only was Rasputin the lover of the Russian Queen, but he also happened to be the Tsarist regime's greatest love machine. Now, every word we hear in this song is true. His eyes were flaming gold. Russian chicks did consider him a lovely man. Some men of higher standing poisoned his wine. He drank it all. He said he'd be fine. They didn't quit. They wanted his head. And so they shot him until he was dead. Oh, those Russians. We can also find that Boney M, I think, go beyond and improve on Shakespeare by giving us some philosophy of how to live. Sonny, before you came my life was full of rain. You arrived and now you took the pain away. Really gets us here. And philosophy as well. Never change lovers in the middle of the night. Now, I think you'll all agree that there is something very profound for us to learn from here. If we do change lovers in the middle of the night, imagine the kind of pickles that we might find ourselves in. Your old lover is not very happy because you've left in the middle of the night. On the other hand, your new lover is not going to be very impressed because you turn up when they think they're going to be getting a decent night's sleep. I would even go as far as to say that if one does change lovers in the middle of the night, one runs a very real risk of not having any lovers at all. This brings us to some of Boney M's more mellow opinions as well. Have a good time at Christmas. Also showing us the kindness, the love of intergenerational relationships. She's crazy like a fool. What about Daddy Cool? Now, I think that that's the kind of thing that really resonates with today's audiences. Similarly, from the 1975 story, an understanding of the primal forces that drive us as human beings. Baby, do you want a bump? 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 But here we come to the car crash moment for Boney M. Ma Baker, the story of an American gangster told with great historical accuracy. The meanest cat from old Chicago town, the meanest cat, she really knew how to mow them down. Unfortunately for Boney M, she was actually called Ma Barker. A terrible, terrible blemish on an otherwise unblemished record. Now, I notice at this point that nobody's taking notes. How do you expect to pass Boney M studies if you're not prepared to write any of this down? I think it's worth pointing out that there's quite a lot that we can learn from this to save future musicians from making similar mistakes. Tom Baker, the same lunatic who played Doctor Who, Ronnie Barker. Cheryl Baker of Bucks Fizz. Bucks Fizz studies start in September, by the way, for those of you who are interested. Sue Barker of Talking Incessantly About Tennis. Mr. Bunder Baker, and so on and so forth. Now, here's some useful information. Album sales of Boney M compared with the population of Liechtenstein in the smaller circle there. And just as a bit of fun, for comparison's sake, here we have Liberal Democrat voters in the last election, and of course down here, Liberal Democrat voters in the next election. But I think the really important thing that Boney M have taught us is that every piece of literature is essentially about a journey. Not just Cathy and Wuthering Heights, The Grapes of Wrath and Star Wars. We might also look at Dorothy journeying to Oz and then back again. We can look at Pip in Great Expectations, journeying from the countryside to the city, from poverty to wealth. We can all look at that and see what Charles Dickens has done there. Very clever. And similarly, Boney encapsulating this in their song, Gotta Get Back to the Island. The unseen mystery at the heart of Boney studies. Now, as I plan to write about this over the next 30 years in many journals that nobody will read, not just in the UK, but internationally as well, I can't give you an answer immediately. But perhaps Einstein can help us. E equals mc squared. We don't have time to go into the finer details of the general theory of relativity, but in a nutshell, you can't travel faster than light, and Bob's your uncle. So I think we can take the Boney the bone of Boney, bonar, because as good academics we turn it into Latin to make it more boring. Remove the C because it's completely irrelevant for the purposes of a pointless speculation. And we can see quite clearly that Boney means having a good time whilst travelling at the speed of light twice. As these people here are clearly doing. So with only a few seconds left, there's only really one more thing to say, which is that now in the audience, anyone who would like to apply to come on Boney Studies starting this spring, louder music please, please stand up in the aisles, start dancing and start auditioning now. Please, come on.